Hey everyone, I am your astrologer Wonder Girl, taking you to new heights. Here is your daily forecast for the day of Thursday, May 24th, 2018. Now, before I get started, I just have two announcements. First of all, I wanted to let you all know I will be doing my June 2018 webinar on the month of June. It will be on Monday, May 28th at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, which is also 7 p.m. Eastern Time if you're interested in joining me. You can find the link down below in my description box. This month, I believe, is a little rare. We're going to have 5 planets retrograde, 2 of which, Neptune and Mars, will go retrograde this month. We're also going to have Mars on the South Node, which again, does not happen that often. Mars will conjunct the South Node once every 2 years, since it takes it about 2 years to go through all the signs, and Mars will not always conjunct the South Node, while Venus is exactly opposite on the North Node. So I do consider it a little bit of a rare alignment. A lot about fate, a lot about karma, destiny, because to me the nodes are very karmic. They indicate the past or a past life. The North Node, your future, your destiny, or a future life. So I think there's a lot of that going on this month. Going to be very karmic, and not so much us initiating doing things, but so much as everything we've worked for either falling into place or more information coming from the past things that we've worked for. So I think that's going to be a lot of it. Venus as well, squaring Uranus on the North Node. Going to bring up some unexpected things with love, with money, with relationships. I think that are going to be going to meet some kind of destined change to kind of set us on our course here. I think it's going to be hard maybe for us to initiate plans in the way that we want and to act to make things happen in the way that we want. But I think like the God is going to take over to put us in our place of where it is we're supposed to be in these next few months, and especially in June while this occurs. Okay, so yeah, it's kind of an interesting month. But if you're interested in that, the link down below in my description box. The next thing I wanted to talk about, gotta make sure my hair is okay. Sometimes it gets kind of crazy in my videos. The next thing I want to tell you all about is horoscope.com. I'm doing videos there. I do a daily video every single day on their website, their daily planetary forecast on their general overview, if you want to check me out there. I'll put the link down below in my description box so you can find me there. You can also find me on their Facebook pages as well, horoscope.com and astrology.com. Even if I miss a day here doing my dailies, I will do one there. So you can always catch me on horoscope.com, although it will be a little bit shorter, 3 to 4 minutes instead of my 15 to 20. But I figure it's easier to catch if you're on the go, and it's easier perhaps to share with friends too, who may not know that much about astrology but are interested in getting into it. So yeah, just wanted to let you all know about that. Now, without further ado, your horoscope. What we've got, the moon hanging out in Libra today. When the moon's in Libra, it brings our attention to relationships, working with the other people in our lives. Also with Libra, you get balance, finding balance in our lives as well, and judging things. What's fair, what's not fair? Do we do things that right? Do we not do things right? That come in. Maybe after we did some hard work while the moon was in Virgo, we then realize we can lift ourselves up, and maybe we need help from other people to accomplish the things that we want, or we need to assess some of the things that we have done recently, the work we've put in, the planning while the moon was in Virgo, to see where we go next. So I think that's what's coming in here with the moon in Libra. Now at 3 a.m., right after this moon enters Libra, this morning, it will oppose Chiron in Aries. Okay, and that can definitely bring up some uncomfortable feelings at 3 a.m. Mountain Time. The uncomfortable feelings are going to be where Chiron is in Aries. So because we're trying to work with other people to find the balance in our life, again, with Chiron in Aries, we may have to sacrifice what we want. We may have to put some of our own needs on the back burner, or we may feel like it's hard for us to do the things that we want to do that are important to us, because now we have to wait on other people to get on board with us. Because now we have to cool our jets a little bit to look around and to see if what we did was okay. So there could definitely be some kind of uncomfortable feeling that comes in at 3 a.m. because we want to do what we want to do, and we really need to work with other people at this time, or to slow things down a bit so that we can look around to assess our progress so far. Okay, so that's what we've got there. Then a few hours later at 7 a.m. Mountain Time, the moon moves further through Libra and makes a trine over to Mars. I like this especially because they're both air signs. And because at the same time, Mars, the moon is in a trine to Mars, it's also in a trine to the sun. So they're all three air signs. This is an air trine because the sun and Mars are also in a trine with each other, bringing a lot of stuff going on in the mind, especially at 7 a.m. Mountain Time, with these three planets trining each other all in air signs. And I think what's going on here is with the trine to Mars, there's a lot we're thinking about the future. I think we're assessing our life, assessing the work that we've done so far, and trying to figure out, where is all this going? All this work that I've done, what does it all mean? Where do I want this to go eventually? What are my dreams and hopes for the future with all of this? Okay, I think that could be coming in. Also as well, maybe socializing. Libra and Aquarius can be very social signs. So maybe trying as well to get feedback from other people, to work with relationships, to figure out where your future is going with the other people in your life, or to get feedback from others to help you understand what you need to do next. So I think that can be very important. And of course the Sun in Gemini, making communication huge. Communicating with other people. If you're not talking to other people about what's going on with you and where you see your life going, maybe trying to work it out in your own mind to figure out what you see for yourself, your future, and how you can start to move from here based on the work that you've done in a much better way. Okay, so I think that's what's going on, and we're really just trying with these air signs to like fix, like mull things over in our mind, you know. I don't know if I see it being a good time to do a lot of things, especially with Mars on the South Node, but I definitely see it being a good time to consider your options, to consider possibilities for the future, and to try to put the pieces together so that you can move forward, if not now, then at another time, okay? So I think that's what's going on. I think as well, especially with the Gemini, to not be afraid, and especially with Mars going retro or in its shadow period, to not be afraid if some of the answers that you come up with right now about your future, about where your life is going, about what you need to do next, don't feel quite right or aren't quite what you want them to be. Because Mars is in its shadow period, there's more left for your mind to uncover. There's more left of the story to come that you don't have yet. And maybe even more of the story is not a physical thing, but more left for us to discover on the inside. So I think it's good for you to put pieces together of where your life can go. And I think it will be very helpful to lift your head up, to think, and to dream, especially with both the Sun and Mars making a sextile to Chiron here, making it a kite. So I think it'll be a good thing to lift your head up, to dream, to consider your possibilities, but I wouldn't get too discouraged if you feel like all the pieces are not into place yet, because they aren't. There's still more to the story that has yet to come, maybe that you're still trying to work out, that will eventually come in time, okay? So just remember that. Gemini as well doesn't get too caught up in certain options. You know, Gemini likes to explore, and if something doesn't work, doesn't get too attached. We'll try something else. So just be aware of that. Don't get too attached to one certain way of doing things, especially as Uranus is going to make a square to Venus this upcoming month. Venus is going to be in the North Node. I think there's some things that have yet to fall into place that Venus on the North Node may help in the future. And right now we're just getting a sense of that. Okay, so that's what we've got at 7 a.m. Then the moon moves further through Libra and starts to come into a little bit of a hard spot around noon. At noon, the moon in Libra is going to come into a square here with Venus in Cancer. So we're trying to find the balance in our life with the moon in Libra, to work with other people, to consider our options. And perhaps that's stopping us from finding the emotional comfort that it is that we want. Or maybe it's uprooting us a little bit if you want to think of Cancer as building more of your roots in life. Maybe because we're more in the mind with this air trine, our emotions are being neglected. Maybe that's the hard part, where all of a sudden we realize, wait, there's some feelings. I don't know how I feel about all of this that I just thought about. That could be a little bit hard too. Maybe as well with all of this thinking about the future, maybe your relationships as well, which is kind of weird. You've got like the moon and the sign of relationships squaring the ruler of the sign of relationships. So there gets to be this spot towards noon, mountain time, where there's like, okay, you've been exploring ideas and exploring your options, but maybe now you need to check in with your relationships, or need to check in emotionally with your relationships and emotionally with yourself before you can move forward. Okay, so I definitely think, especially with the sun in a trine with Mars, which it will be for a few more days, processing things in the mind is good considering your options, but there may come a point a little bit towards the afternoon where you may need to take a break from exploring options in the mind so that you can check in with yourself and with others emotionally to make sure that you're okay and not neglecting your emotions in the process and bringing yourself emotionally on the journey with you, okay? So that's what I see there. Then at 4 p.m. Mountain Time, the moon moves further through Libra and then makes a square to Saturn. So that also can bring up some hard things as well, feelings of restriction. We're trying to work with people, a lot of things going on in relationships with the moon in Libra and with Venus. We're trying to consider our options here, make sure we're feeling comfortable, everyone's feeling comfortable, and maybe that as a result is making us feel a little bit restricted when it comes to where our life is going, you know? It's hard to put our life in a direction that we really want if we have to make sure that our emotional needs are taken care of, if we're in our mind all the time and not actually doing things in reality. So I think there can be something like that that then starts to come in a little bit at 4 p.m. Some frustration, feeling restricted here. You know, we want to move forward. We want to put our life in the right direction, but maybe there's still more with relationships we need to work out. There's still more in the mind that needs to come together. There's still more emotionally that we need to bring on with us before we can finally start to move forward in the right way. That could be a little frustrating, okay? So that's what I see coming in at 4 p.m. The good thing though is that at 4 p.m., right around the time that this happens with the square to Saturn, the moon will also make a sextile here to the North Node. So even though there could be some things that are hard at this time at 4 p.m. for you to take some of the things that you've been thinking about or discussing with yourself, with your relationships, with your future, and to move it in the right direction, I do think that even if you're struggling to bring everything together, that it is going to help you to feel happier, to do more of what you like, and to hopefully get more of an idea of how you can lead your life in the place that you want it to go in, even if it's not all coming together, okay? So that's what I see going on there. I'm going to try to go through the next few aspects pretty quickly. I have been such a talker lately. It's probably of course, the sun in Gemini in a trine with Mars, making me kind of talkative in these videos, and I don't want them to get too long just because it takes me a while to edit and upload them in that case, and I want to be respectful of your time. You know, I'm a journalist by trade, and so I look at all the data when at my old jobs of what people watch, and everyone's people only watch 5-minute videos, if that. Oh my goodness, why is this taking so long to erase? Okay, sorry, this iPad is huge. Stuff going on in the background. I did talk about Sun in a trine with Mars, so I won't talk about that again, and they're both in a sextile with Chiron. So really just, maybe I will for a second, mulling things over in your mind, exploring your possibilities may help you here to figure out how you can do things in the future in a better way than you are right now, and to heal yourself if you can just think about things in different ways, okay? We also do have Mars in a square with Uranus, so even though you're mulling over different possibilities, even though thinking about the future in different ways is good, there could be some frustration with the square to Uranus, some anxious energy, some nervousness, feeling like you're caged in by your life, by what you can actually do at this time with Uranus and Taurus, maybe feeling like realistically you can't achieve some of the goals and the dreams that it is that you want, needing to just be patient as everything comes together, especially these next few months with Mars on the South Node. Things can start moving forward again in a much better way, but we need this time to refine our plans, to adjust our perspective, and to work things out mentally before we can start to move forward in a better way in the future, okay? So there's that. We also do have Mercury today coming into a trine with Pluto as well, so there could be changes. We're thinking about our future differently with Mercury involved, lots in the mind, okay? Going on, not so much doing, but in the mind, and I think we could be changing the way that we think about our life, think about our reputation, think about where our life is going, and changing the way we use our resources in order to get the desired outcome that it is that we want. So there could be a lot going on with the mind. We're changing our perspective here. and really trying to see deeply into situations as well. With the trine to Pluto, maybe needing to see behind the surface of what's going on to get to the real meat of the situation too, that can come in with the Mercury in a trine with Pluto. So if people are saying things to you, and if things are frustrating in relationships, especially with the square to Venus and Cancer, maybe trying to see more deeply into the other person and what they're not saying could help to resolve some of that. We also do have Venus too in an opposition with Saturn, which could bring, again, restrictions in relationships. Relationships and money are kind of getting a little hammered. I'm not gonna lie, lately, with Venus starting out in the square to Chiron, coming into the opposition to Saturn, Uranus in a Venus-ruled sign where it's in the fall position. So there could definitely be, again, some uncomfortable things that start to come up in relationships, feeling restricted by relationships, like you can't do the things that it is that you want or need because you have to take care of the emotional needs of other people, maybe even yourself with Venus and Cancer, maybe feeling like it's hard for you to do what you want because you have to take care of your own emotional needs as well. And I think needing to just take that time to pay attention to what's going on inside you, to pay attention to the emotions of others, even if you have to sacrifice some of your own desires, is going to be super, super important at this time. Maybe having to suck some things up and to be a little bit more diplomatic than you want to be with this. But I think if you can be more diplomatic, if you can try your best to look into other people deeply, look behind the surface of situations and nurture everyone, kind of slowly bring everyone on board with you, even if it's a little bit painful in the process because we're anxious and frustrated about things, I think it will be much better for you in the end, instead of pushing things, fighting people tooth and nail to get what you want because you're mad at they won't do what you want them to do. It's just like, you gotta be peaceful, you gotta take it easy at this time. I think there's a lot of things that have yet to fall into place that could start to fall into place this month to help us understand where our next steps are based of everything that we've done, and now it's just working some of it out in our minds first. Okay, so that's what I've got there. Your card is the 9. It's the 9 of Wands reversed. This card to me is definitely one of like defensiveness when I see this card, and like being afraid that all of your hard work will be lost in the end, that everything that you've done means nothing, is all gonna fall apart. And I think the message of this card, just the way I'm gonna read it today, is to just trust, to have faith that if you've worked hard for something and that if you really want something, that you'll be fine, that what needs to happen will happen, that what you want to happen or that what you've worked for will come back to you. Okay, I mean, yeah, I think that you're in a much better spot than it is than you think, especially if you genuinely want something, especially if you've been genuinely putting in the hard work in order to make it happen. Okay, I definitely see this next month with June, we're getting a lot of our returns are coming in from our previous efforts from the past few years, from the past few months of this year, and I think it's just a matter of waiting, trusting that the fruits of your labors, if you've been doing the work, will come in and will pay off, and that you will be fine. You know, my mom always told me, what did she always say? She was always like, I don't know, my mom was always just, maybe it was a little bit romantic, but she was always like, good people always win. If you work hard, you will get, like, you will do fine. And so that's what I want to say. I want to channel my mom with this and be like, good people do finish first and you're gonna be fine. Things will turn out with exactly the way they are meant to be. Just be patient, don't doubt yourself, and don't make things worse out of fear that you're gonna lose something that you haven't even lost yet. All right. So that's what I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching my horoscope. If you like it, please like it on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, and I will talk to you later.